Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode one of the Liquid Fire Fishing Podcast. My name's John Molfetto, joined by Captain Mark Henderson, captain of the Liquid Fire Fishing team. Mark, how you doing this evening?
Doing great, John. How you doing, buddy? It's kind of exciting to do this. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to see, aren't we?
Yes, yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be exciting, man. You and I have chatted about this for a little bit, and got a pile of fantastic guests that we've got in our mind to join. In the future tonight we've got a great one, great two actually. And just looking forward to getting to know them and talking about what their event that they've got in Fort Pierce. And um, why a podcast, Mark? Is the space filled
You
yet?
know, John, is I don't know, man. It's kind of unique. It's just something that I thought about for a long time. Hey, I didn't even understand what it was for a long time, so I don't think we're going to be challenging Joe Rogan anytime soon here. But the reality is that I'm thinking, how can we bring something a little bit unique, a little bit different, maybe a scheduled podcast every couple of weeks or whatever it turns into, get some great guests. And I remember back in the day when we started this, and I was fishing with the family, and we started, you know, just the tournament series and work and fishing, those types of things. There was a communication wasn't nearly like it is now. I mean, the social media world just exploded over the last 15 years, but first 4 or 5 6 years that we were involved in it and working for sponsors and things like that, man, it was the antiquated stuff were forums. You remember the Kingfish Connection, and you'd run out to
Yeah,
the Frying Pan Tower website, and it was forums, and and people would post, and that's how we got all our information and communicated with people. And it was kind of a back and forth at that time, and it was something that people talked about. Well, now, while it's really cool to have such immediate impact from whenever you catch a fish or whatever you want to say on social media, great photos, great videos, all those things exist now. And so you get a lot of information, but you don't get a whole lot of camaraderie feedback sometimes, so people are looking at stuff. But I don't know, we'll see. I'm hoping that we can get people in and they'll communicate and talk, and ask some good questions and enjoy the hopefully some content that we can bring them. And couldn't be more appreciative of the sport. Just wanted to offer something to the sport, man. I mean, it's been so good to me and my family, bring my family up in it. I just felt like it was just something that we could bring back and give back to the sport. There's so many other cool things out there now. I was just like, hey, what could be a little bit different? And hopefully it works.
yeah. Well, talking about the technology, you guys were always cutting edge when it came to the videos after the events with the boys, editing those and up until the last few years with Troll the Edge. So you guys have always been right there with the technology. So this just seems like
Well,
it fits.
it does. And and the thing is there's so many good teams out there doing so many good things. And my goodness, now you can take a video on on your telephone that's better than that equipment was that we were using back in the day. But
Yes.
it was kind of interesting trying to find out how to post a video, how to get it online, how to share it with people, and would it work and all that kind of stuff. But it was unique, and some of it was it looked like old 8 millimeter footage sometimes. But it was kind of cool, and it was it was a little bit different. And so it was a lot of fun to do that back then too. And my sons were young, and I was a little younger and a little more energetic too.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I feel that. So let's before we bring our guest on today, let's chat about what's been going on. We had some big news from the Southern Kingfish Association yesterday,
Yeah,
announcing Nationals is going to be in Beaufort this year, which certainly I'm excited about. It's a 30-minute drive from the house that we get to go fishing in our now home waters. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, no, I was excited to see it, and as much as anything, they made an announcement super early this year, and that
Yes,
way it allows people. They got a date. I think the dates were in good shape. Not on top of anything. I mean, that's a very congested time of year for tournament fishing, certainly in North Carolina, because that's when the run of big fish are generally there, and people want to fish that time just for the excitement of it. And but they made the announcement really early. I was excited to see that, so it allows people to plan, and if they want to travel and if they can travel, they can put teams together, plan for it, get hotel rooms, homes, whatever they need to rent, for dockage, gas, all that. And just kind of understanding what the layout of the land is. And I tell you, the place they chose with Town Creek Marina, it's not a huge
absolutely.
marina, but man, I'm gonna tell you something. You cannot find a better location for access, boat ramps, ease of putting in. I mean, Town Creek Marine's got fuel, they've got ice, they've got great dockage. Steve Tulovic and his wife Carol and their team have done a great job of updating the marina with floating docks, and and they've got a service center, parts, all that stuff, man. Mercury certified technicians. So they bring a lot to the table here. So I think that the SKA did a really good job of picking venue and announcing it early. So hats off to the people at the SKA on that one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That the Town Creek's an awesome facility. They've got, like you mentioned, everything there. It's nice to be able to have an up to date marina. And then hopefully a lot of boats there. I know I called and made a reservation yesterday for a slip.
I did
It
too.
is right up the road, but it's going to be nice just to kind of feel that camaraderie with everybody. Being right there in the water with everybody. So
Yeah, I
um,
mean, the good thing about it also, John, is that I would definitely give them a call, no question about it, as early as you can. And then, but there are several other marinas right across the harbor there, and there are numerous places to house your boat. It's easy access. You can get to the marina two different ways from the waterway, and there's a lot of value to it. And literally the highway comes right into the marina basically, so super easy access.
absolutely. Well, let's Mark, we got a great guest tonight. You've been a friend of this gentleman and his wife for a number of years now. You fished their event for, yeah, I think since its inception, if I'm not mistaken. So let you do an introduction here and you know,
Absolutely, man. Mike and Alicia Minia, just fantastic friends. They're unbelievable stewards and of the sport. They work so hard, and not only are they hardworking tournament directors. Mike is an incredible fisherman down in South Florida, and he's teamed up with some of the best people down there in the past. So his knowledge of fishing is second to none as well. So in addition to just to being unbelievable folks and putting on a great event, man, I'm excited to have them on board for our first podcast.
awesome. Without further ado, Mike and Alicia Minia, tournament directors of the Fort Pierce King Mackerel Invitational. Mike, Alicia, how are you guys this evening?
Great.
Good. How are you?
Hey
Good, glad to
guys.
have you.
Yep, we're honored to be here.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys and taking the time and to be part of this, and the event's so exciting, and it coming up right around the corner, and I know there's a lot of people coming traveling to it, so we thought it'd be a great time to bring y'all on, share about the tournament, tell some stories about it, how it got started, and all those things. So we do appreciate it. And so take a minute, introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your background, what you got going, and how this, and then we'll get into how this thing got started.
Sure. Yeah, I've been fishing in my whole life. I got into tournament fishing, I'd say, a little over 20 years ago. And I like to fish for multiple species. That's kind of a thing here. We have multiple species that live in the same waters where kingfish live. And then one day I got an invitation from Rich Cook from Airtran fishing team, Lost Boys fishing team, to fish SKA with them. And that's kind of how I got into king fishing specifically. And then we moved on, and my wife and we started fishing on bootlegger fishing team for many years, 8 to 10 years roughly. And then, we fished our boat. We finally got a boat ourselves too. Fished our boat for several years, and it's just kind of developed from there.
Well, I know you've been in some successful events as an angler and as a teammate, and and now it's transitioned into something that's really provided the sport with with another great event. We're fortunate to have some amazing events up here in North Carolina, and we'll certainly have podcasts on those as well. But what you guys have been able to put together with a lot of other volunteers and people that have been involved is really cool. And John mentioned I've fished it from the beginning, and it's just such an exciting time to travel down to be part of it, and we appreciate that. So let's talk a little bit about how this really kind of developed. What happened to even consider doing something like this?
It's a great story. So I was doing, I was always doing a lot of traveling fishing. It kind of started, I mentioned a few teams. It started with Little Devil Fishing Team from Fort Pierce. They invited us to do the Wild West on the west coast of Florida. That was a lot of fun. We did that for several years. I went to Key West with them several times. We went and fished some other events, and so I got really hooked on the traveling stuff. I like going to new areas, learning new areas. I like the challenges, and then I started fishing. I was invited a few times to pre-fish with Digger Rich, and then they invited me to fish with them as well. And one day I got a call from Scott Parsons, and he said that they were opening up the Moorhead Open to more teams and asked if we would like to come up there and fish. And I said, sure. So I made a few phone calls. I called Dustin, the owner of Digger Rich. I asked if he wanted to go to North Carolina, and he said, let's see if the rest of the guys want to go. And I think we signed up within a day or two after looking at the layout, after looking at the structure of the tournament. And after, I think we've gone there every year since we've been invited. So we've been up there several years. And after, I think it was the second year, we placed in the tournament. I think we got 7th place or something. We went to the awards, and we're just sitting there with our mouths open, just looking at, everyone that was on the leaderboard, and all the money that was given out, and the fish that were caught that year too were incredible. And the whole ride home, I think we called you about 5 or 6 times on the way home. Just
I remember those calls.
Here like that, and
why don't we have something like that in South Florida?
Right.
I remember those calls, and it was like, hey, well, you think it'll work? And I'm like, I'll fish. I said, yeah, I think. And you couldn't have patterned it after a better crew with the Moorhead City Open and all of that, those guys that are involved in that, and the Cape Lookout Shootout. And anyway, so it was exciting. So
yeah, and then we kind of, I never wanted to be a tournament director, full disclosure. So we asked a few tournament directors in the area to put it on. We kind of came up with some ideas, and we called some of the well-known tournament directors, and nobody wanted to do it. And after a few months, I kind of was thinking, okay, well, I think I can put something like this on. And I don't even think I ever asked my wife if she wanted to be a part of it. I just one day kind of just said, I think we're going to do it.
How hard could it be?
Yeah.
I think it's
and we called.
And now she's.
And now he'd be lost without me.
Yeah.
It's usually how it works, right?
Yeah.
Mike, what motivates you guys to dedicate so much time to running the event?
Well, our motto is by fishermen for fishermen. The first thing that we said was we want to give back everything the anglers put in as close to 100% as possible. Right now, I believe our payouts on entry fees are over 96%, and we pay back 100% on Calcuttas. So we, and we're able to do that with all the volunteers that we get, with our sponsors. Any products that are given, we give back to the anglers too. So we just wanted one really good tournament in Florida. We wanted, there's a lot of good tournaments in Florida, but we wanted one that was for the fishermen, by the fishermen, and ran, where the fishermen get the most out of it.
Well, 3 years in excuse me, 3 years in, the effort's definitely there, and I mean, it can be seen with the amount of boats that you guys are getting consistently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So moving into from the why into, let's talk about a little bit about the big picture of it. What's the uniqueness of it, and for the teams that are coming in, and the strategy behind that. Did you feel like you were going to get a lot of travel teams, and or were you expecting that?
Our goal was to cater to the traveling teams. So we called a bunch of yourself and also a bunch of other people in North Carolina that we've become friends with. We called people, all over that we know from different areas that are popular for king fishing, and they spread the word. And so the first year we were talking about doing it, we were going to do it the following year, and we got so much feedback saying that we had to do it that year. So the first year we got it together within a little over 3 months, less than 4 months. And it's because the word got out there and we were pressured into into doing it.
But I think Henderson is a great area for families to come down. There's a lot of events that are going on every weekend. It's close to the beach. Most of the teams end up renting a house. So it really is a nice place for everybody to kind of stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, with what people know, about the event, and, just like we were talking about earlier on the Nationals, if people know that it's coming up, they know what to expect. They can put some time, energy, effort. They don't mind putting some money into it, and so that they can enjoy themselves. I mean, it can be a family outing, a good, camaraderie outing with friends, and that kind of thing. That's what y'all have done such a good job of, and it's been consistent from day one that I've seen. I know it's probably been really hard on you and Alicia, and to maintain that sanity sometimes, I can imagine, because I'm sure it gets extremely busy as tournament directors, and so it's really been an outstanding event. And into the 4th year, I tell you, it just continues to grow. I was looking at the participant list today. It looks like that's very strong. And so talk a little bit, moving into maybe the format and the why, but let's talk about the numbers of boats that you capped it at, and where we are with that strategy, and your thoughts on that.
Well, so it's supposed to be 100. Last year we had 83 boats. We're hoping to be somewhere around there this year. We've talked about making the cap possibly a little smaller than 100 boats. Is kind of hard to get at, even at a big event like this. At 83 last year, the payouts were somewhere around over 670,000 roughly. I don't know if I wanted to get any bigger than that, to be honest with you. That's a lot. But we're always willing to make it grow. We're going to try to get to the 100 boats as always, but it's already the biggest, again, there's good tournaments everywhere, but payout wise, I think with our structure and also fishing wise, it's not just the payouts that get people to come. The fishing that time of the year is so strong, and we've kind of gotten pretty good at predicting the start of the spring kingfish run with our dates, and then that's why every year there's been 60s caught. Last year the day 2 leaderboard was all 60s and 50s.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
and the guys that didn't get 50s had shots at 50s. I heard, everybody said, I got so many calls from people on their way home saying we're definitely coming back. The fishing was unbelievable. We had 40s and 50s skying on our baits, and we had multiple chances, and so.
Well, don't forget too, we also have the Calcutta for the closest to 20.25, which was last year, and that fish was caught by Liquid Buzz. They got it right on the money, and they went home with over $20,000 for that fish alone.
Yes.
So you don't even have to catch a big fish to be in the money.
Yeah, that's some creative ways to make people come to the scales and feel part of the activities. And, I mean, you win $20,000 for a fish that, you when you catch it, you're probably not overly excited about it until you remember, oh yeah, I am in that Calcutta. And so it makes people want to be at the scales, which creates an exciting environment. That's the thing. I mean, that's one of the things that I've noticed with these types of events. Like you'd said, when you came up to North Carolina, you saw the excitement, you saw the the interaction of the people, and it's nice to see that for the sport again. I mean, really, as opposed to just fishing and going home type thing. So it's really cool. So, kind of moving into that, I'd like to get back to some logistics of the event and what why you put some things together there. But let's talk about why you guys did choose Fort Pierce and what was involved in that decision.
Sure. Fort Pierce is a central location to where the fish should be that time of the year, and it's been proven over the last 3 years. Some years the fish are south, some years the fish are north, and Fort Pierce is literally right in the middle of where those fish are. There has been in the past, prior to our tournament, in that month, in April, it's rare, but sometimes they're right out front of Fort Pierce too. It's happened before. I know that there used to be a local tournament around that time of the year, and there was the winners were right in front of Fort Pierce. So so also Fort Pierce has the logistics for people traveling. Mm-hmm. There's places to park your trailer. There's a lot of houses for rent. There's hotels. There's marina slips available, which a lot of places, there's waiting lists for marina slips. So there's transient marina slips available for people too. So
it seems like the city is so accommodating to fishermen as well. I mean, it's a fishing town. It's a nice sized town, but I mean, they welcome that, that flood of people that come in too. The restaurants love it and all that, it seems like.
Yes. The city's very accommodating. And a lot of the fishermen in the city of Fort Pierce, they're involved with city people and city projects. They're very involved. And I've gotten so many people from Fort Pierce that call me all the time and say, do you need anything? Everything okay? You need me to talk to somebody? So, and I haven't had to do that, but if I did, I feel like it'd be figured out really soon, quickly. But it caters to a big event with out of town people coming. It's very accommodating.
And you had mentioned, go ahead, John, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just say it's nice to have that backing from the city. I remember, back in the day with the SKA Pro Tour, going in that area, they always had the trailer there for the stage, and they were always big supporters of the events. So that's fantastic.
Yep.
You talked a little bit with Fort Pierce and talked about the leaderboard and all that. I mean, just for those who might be watching this tonight or whenever they replay it, I mean, in the first 3 years, there were just some really big fish caught. I mean, 95 pounds won it in 2023. And then in 2024, it was an epic winner with Kevin Hannon and Team Pro Marine, Jim Nassett and their team. They came over and they had almost 125 pound aggregate. I mean, they caught a 56 and a daggone like almost a 68 pound fish. I mean, just incredible aggregate right there. And there were a lot of big fish. And then, and they won, I think they won what, $317,000 with that. And then last year, Mac Daddy, won it with 106 pounds, and first year's Digger Rich won with 95. And I mean, it's just it's a big fish area, and just a really, really cool place that y'all picked.
Yeah, well, and a fun fact, so the 67.84 pound fish that Pro Marine got is right behind us. It's a rubbing of it. And that aggregate, I don't think will ever get beat, but you never know in Fort Pierce in April.
Man, you can't. That fish was huge, and man, it was just. I think you never want to lose anything like this, but man, I got to tell you, I was excited for those guys. When I saw that, I was like, "Holy smokes!" I mean, we caught I think we caught a 52 pounder, and it was like, man, that's nothing compared to this thing, So it was pretty special. It was a pretty special time, and all 3 years have been special, man. So, what do you think might win it this year? You got any predictions? How about the moon phase and all that fishing stuff that Talk a little bit about that.
Now there's pressure for 60-pound fish to be caught because of all 3 years. So I'm crossing my fingers that somebody or multiple people get 60-pound fish. But you know, with it. So here's the first year we did it on the new moon, the week of the new moon for the dates of the tournament. The second year, I don't remember exactly what the moon made, but we did it as close to the new moon as possible. Last year we were 1 week away from the new moon, and then this year it's going to be on the new moon again. So, and the first year the fishing was really good too. A lot of guys said they for the first few hours they couldn't even get a whole spread out. They were just getting bit by 20s, 30s, you know, and then you get an occasional 40. And so this year we expect it to be more like the first year where it's just a lot of action.
Right. Well, what have you mentioned about not getting the spread out? Talk a little bit about that, quickly about strategy and that kind of thing, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, the key is to be ready for lines in, and every year has proved that. You want all your rods rigged. You want your rigs ready to go close to your rods. You know, you want to know what baits you're putting out. You want to have your crew, ready, and everybody has a job on the boat. And the first year, it was just everybody was saying it was crazy to even try and get 3-4 baits out. They would already be hooked up. And then the second year, Pro Marine got this fish, the 67.84 on their first line out. And they got it in the middle of the whole fleet. Everybody saw the fish air out 10 feet in the air. And it's a sinking feeling for the other boats to see that. And, because they knew it was big because they turned around and head straight for the inlet after that.
I saw them running in. I was like, man.
Yeah, but 5 minutes into the tournament. So
yeah, and they're sitting at the dock the rest of the day.
And then a funny story from the third year, Flak Bait from Key West. He called me on I think it was day one. Yeah, it was day one of the tournament last year. They're waiting for lines in. He rigs a bait with 10 seconds to go. Looking at the clock, 7 a.m. He throws the bait in, and as soon as he threw the bait in, there must have been a kingfish right under the boat. Skied inches from his face over the boat and to the other side in the water.
Oh my
goodness!
goodness.
Hour and a half, they said that nobody even talked to each other. They were just catching fish, tying on new rigs. And
that'd be scary to see that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So lines in is, you have to be ready and prepared for every minute, but you especially want to get ready for 7 a.m.
Yeah. So let's real quick get into some of the most rewarding parts of what you guys and Alicia that that y'all have experienced. What's some of the most rewarding things that have happened for you? I mean, I know you've got a really good story about one of the charity organizations, so I'd love for you to share about that. And
sure.
What's the exciting stuff? What's the cool things that have happened?
Sure. As far as the cool things, I enjoy seeing some of the junior anglers getting really involved with the teams. There's a group of junior anglers who they're part of the team. Whether their job is to get the video right when you catch the big fish, or clear lines, or and hear the stories when they come back. That I love hearing that. And another rewarding thing is, I've always envisioned this to be like a family type event. There's no casinos in Fort Pierce. There's not, a huge area of where you could go bar hopping at. So, there's there's green markets on the weekends, or farmers market. There's Oyster Fest sometimes is on the same date as our tournament. There's a lot of things for families to do, whether they're fishing or not fishing with the teams.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. That's kind of like Morehead City and Beaufort. You're not gonna find a whole lot of casinos in here either. So,
Right.
Yeah.
but well, let's y'all talk a little bit about share a quick story on the charity that
Yes,
is involved that kind of
absolutely.
made an impact.
So we were always a by fisherman for fishermen event, and then we were always focusing on the anglers. We weren't really close to a charity. And I got a phone call from Doug Miller, Miller Time Fishing. He's one of the owners of St. Lucie Battery and Tire and the Miller Ranch. And he said there's a charity that's about to get started and it's close to his heart. And he wanted to put up a $5,000 jackpot to whoever donates $100 or more to the foundation. So basically, when you register at the tournament, if you donate $100 or more to the Brandon Reed Foundation, you're automatically entered into a $5,000 jackpot. Several teams gave more than $100, and Brandon Reed, he was a local kid in Fort Pierce, and he had a rare form of childhood cancer, and he won the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the Make-A-Wish, and he gave it away. He said, "Give it to somebody who needs it more than me," and they came back to him and they said, "No, nobody's ever denied this. You have to take it." So he wanted to do something low. He had an opportunity to go anywhere in the world to go fishing, and he wanted to give back to the local community. So he did a shopping spree at one of the local tackle stores in Fort Pierce. And his mom, Devin Reed, who's now running the foundation, she told me, after his cancer treatments, he would get a $25 gift card to spend on anything he wants from the hospital. And he always gave it to another kid there that was at the hospital. So he never wanted anything himself. He always wanted to give back to somebody else, even when he needed it. And so, long story short, so, Devin now is doing a foundation in his name, and it's given back to kids that are going through what he went through. And that are coming to Miami to get cancer treatments. And a lot of them don't have basic necessities. So with what we are able to generate her from our tournament, she gets noise canceling headphones so the kids can relax while they're getting cancer treatments in the hospital. And kids are there every day for weeks at a time. And she gets them blankets and socks, gift cards for the family to go get something to eat or get a coffee. And so the first year we gave back to her, the tournament generated just somewhere around $8,400 roughly. And then Alicia and I gave back, we rounded it up to 10,000 ourselves. And then Pro Marine won the $5,000 jackpot, and they donated the 5,000 back. So they got $15,000 the first year they did it. And originally she wasn't allowed to go up to give those care bags out. And then after they saw what she gave away, the second year, the nurse said, "You're coming in." And they snuck her in, and she was able to, personally give these things back. And now the doctors, the nurses have her phone number as well. So if there's a family, somewhere that needs something, she's able to go provide for them. So, and Brandon himself was a big fisherman. He grew up, fishing, skateboarding, surfing, and his friends, there were 17 friends that would constantly be almost living at her house for the last few weeks to spend time with him. They didn't go to school. They would wait for him to come back from cancer treatments. They'd take him fishing if he was up for it. They slept at her house every night. She had to get new couches so that everybody had somewhere to sleep. They gave her, they would drink, drinks with him that he had to drink just to keep him company. So these were all, it's very, very touching what she's doing. And now, we're all in on this.
Well, that's exciting. I mean, it turns from something that, was developed for, truly for fishing, but it does show you what the community can do, and that's the cool thing about it. It shows you how passionate people are about a sport, but also how much they appreciate each other and they understand the value of human life and friendship and all those things, man, that really, being in this sport for so long, just the people that you meet and the care that other people have for you. And there's so many stories of people helping others as well. But that one, you don't get much more touching or much more impactful than that right there. So I'm super excited to, to hear that and to be part of that. And I'm super happy the event is really focused to help an organization like that. So that's really cool. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing
Kudos.
that fun story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting there. So, real quick, let's roll back into some of the reasoning. Really like to cover a little bit of the rules of what, for if someone's thinking about coming down and fishing and that kind of thing, of some of the things that you put in place and reasons that they were put in place that are probably a little bit unique to most king mackerel tournaments, that you have to do when you catch a fish, when you get a bite, and all those types of things. You got a second to chat about that?
Sure. We always knew that there was going to be, great prize money in this tournament. And we did get a lot of questions about, how we were going to control if there was a, dishonest fisherman. That we wanted to keep everyone honest. And I think that the concern is bigger than the actual probability that somebody would cheat. So to put everybody's minds at ease, we spent a lot of time figuring out how we would do that. And so what we came up with was when you catch a fish and that's the fish you're going to weigh, you do have to have it on video, and you have a code word that's given the night before each day. They have to write on your boat number. So you have to have your boat number with the code word and say the code word in the video. And then you also have to measure the fish so that we make sure that the fish you caught is also, that's in the video, is also the fish that you're weighing. We can verify with the measurements. Because you can never tell if a fish in the video is 40 pounds or 53 pounds. It's hard. Mm-hmm. So we remeasure the fish when it comes to the weigh-in. And then if you make the leaderboard, you send in your videos of each fish from each day, and we review them. And we look back in our documentation of what we, measured your fish. And, so far everything's been spot on. And we also gut the fish after they're weighed to make sure there's no weight altering devices in the fish as well. It's far beyond what most tournaments have to do, but there's nothing like fishermen knowing that the fish that was caught was definitely caught that day, and it's the same fish that was weighed in.
Cool. Well, I think
we do a polygraph too. We have a polygrapher who's chief of police, I believe, for her town, and she comes in and polygraphs. Usually the winners, but if there's any speculation of anything, we can have her polygraph anyone.
Yeah, just a cool checks and balance system. I think you were right. The first thing you said was, hey, I think the fear of it is more real than the actual probability of it. And but it's good that you go to those extremes and the things that you need to do just to make sure that everything's not questioned. And y'all do a great job with that too. It doesn't take a lot of extra time, especially after you figured out how to do it and be careful about it and those types of things. So you mentioned about gutting the fish. What happens with the donated fish and fish that were weighed in?
So that's a good question, and it helped us on many levels to be able to do that. We had concern also with people leaving with big fish when it's a 2-day tournament. So we wanted to be able to control that the fish stay with us. That way, they can't be reweighed or anything like that. So what we did was we also we paired up with a charity. And it's the Treasure Coast Sports Commission. They help us put on the tournament, especially the first year. They introduced us to everybody at the city. They told us everything we had to do. If there's a problem, they're always there for us. That's their main job. They're a nonprofit that helps put on events, sporting events in Fort Pierce. And we were able to apply for a permit, and the fish get sold to a fish house, commercial fish house in Fort Pierce. And through the permit is in their name, the Treasure Coast Sports Commission, And once the fish are sold, the money goes straight to the nonprofit organization, the Treasure Coast Sports Commission, and they're able to use that for part of their funding for the year and everything. So to help, put on more events and stuff.
That's awesome. Help out 2 charities there.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. That's pretty good for a tournament that started 3 years ago or 4 years ago for fishermen by the fishermen. That's not a bad deal right there. So that's good stuff. So total all in entry, Calcuttas and everything is share that amount so people would know that.
So the general entry is $5,000. And then we have an extra $3,900 in Calcuttas if you include the $100 or more for the Brandon Reed Foundation.
So $8,900 all in.
Yes.
To possibly win a share of how much? 600 grand?
Over, somewhere in the high 600s.
Yeah, it's pretty strong. I mean, those first 3-year winners. I mean, we finished 4th one year and we won $25,000. So I mean, that's not too bad. So we were excited about that.
Yeah.
And so and I say that just because there's a tremendous payout all the way through 12th place. Is that right?
We in general we write about 15 different checks for the at the awards, or shortly after the awards. This year I believe 15 different teams were in the awards categories.
Yeah, the money was spread out a little bit different this year. Our first place team took home how much money?
I believe it's somewhere right around 240,000. The first place team got.
There are a bunch of young kids from Pompano, or Lighthouse Point, I should say. Average age was about 25. And then it was 7th or 8th place that took home the big fish. So they ended up cashing a pretty big paycheck too. So the money was pretty well spread out this past year.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw that boat out there. They working hard. I tell you, they were working hard during the week catching bait and dedicated to it. So proud of them and good for them, man. Y'all have had some really good winners and just great teams that have fished this throughout. And teams that haven't won money and all that, they're just great fishermen, great sportsmen, and it's really a joy to be around them. So Alicia, this real quick, what have you seen as the biggest challenges? I guess whether it's personal, with putting this on, or with the event, have there been many problems, challenges? Not problems, but what's been the toughest thing?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, we really do have a great group of volunteers. I mean, who have helped us, selling T-shirts and doing the 50-50 at the captain's meeting. We really have a great group of people that if we ever come across any questions when we were putting the rules together or even developing the tournament, we would pick up the phone and call, people who have their own tournaments or who have years of fishing and, years of fishing the SKA or other big tournaments. And I think just being part of the fishing community, everybody's been great, easy to work with. Like Mike said, the Treasure Coast Sports Commission has been a huge help in helping us put something on in a city that we don't live in. So far, so good. Knock on wood. We really haven't had any challenges that we haven't been able to, quickly come up with a solution for.
Well, that's good to hear. And that comes from dedication, hard work from yourselves. And I know several of the people in the back, behind the scenes are working hard and putting things together. You see them at the event, they're out there helping, and takes a lot to put on something like this. And, a lot of people that aren't on the podcast tonight, we know how hard they're working. So I know from a personal standpoint, as a fisherman, I appreciate that, everybody's efforts and energies that go into it. And, as we kind of wind this thing up for everybody and whoever's out there watching or will watch this, we thank you for that. But have you been approached about, hey, this is pretty successful, we'd like to see this somewhere else? Or is there any future plans or something you want to implement that you're putting together that you can reveal?
We certainly get asked that all the time.
Yeah,
I'll bet.
We do. I'll never say no, but not in the immediate future. I think there's a group of all the guys that fish our tournament from all the different locations, which, let's mention them. We have North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, all over Florida, North Florida, South Florida, West Coast,
Central Florida.
Central Florida. I mean, we have a team coming from Okeechobee, Florida this year, which is in the middle of the state, and we have Alabama, Texas.
Texas.
Texas is new this year.
Yeah,
we're expanding.
We got calls from people in Texas other years, but we had Bill.
I'm
Platt.
guessing that's. I was gonna say I was guessing Bill Platt and Papatanic.
Yes, yeah. So and people trust us now. They know that we're gonna pay out. They know that our rules are fair. They trust us to put on a good event, and it is a lot of pressure having people coming from so far. There's stuff that sometimes is out of our control, but we feel the pressure because we know we travel ourselves to go fish, and we know what it takes to go to all these different areas and do everything, and it's not easy. And we have to thank people from all those areas, because we have people we talk to from every state that comes here that we trust, and we run things by them and say, hey, what if we did this, or what if we did that? And people are honest with us. They know us. We want them to be honest with it, and we're honest with everybody. So I think at this point people trust us and they want us to put on more events. It's a lot. We both have full-time jobs. We dedicate everything to this tournament, and we like to fish ourselves too. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, y'all, it's been, I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up, and just can't thank y'all enough for being part of this inaugural, podcast that we're putting on. We'll see if it's desired anymore, but you know what? This is a really cool thing to do, just to chat and talk about some history, talk about some future, so talk about some current, and there's a lot of cool things that go into this. And as much as anything, I appreciate all the people in the sport that support events like the Fort Pierce King Mackerel Invitational, and all the people that it takes to put these on. So thank you all. And we really do appreciate you being part of the
Mark, we appreciate you too. We've always looked up to you and what you've done with your team and your family, and you're always thinking of new ways to be part of promoting yourself and social media and stuff. And I think this is going to be a hit. We're honored to be part of it, and anything we can do to help in the future, let us know. This is very fun.
Mike, Alicia, I can't thank you. Thank y'all enough. So really, we appreciate that.
Can't wait to see the results from this year's tournament. It's going to be stellar, like the last three. So
yes, sir.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night. I'll be watching.
There you go.
All right. Have a great
night,
Mike, guys.
Alicia, thank you very much. John,
thank you.
We're going to hang on for a moment and close this out.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was fantastic, man. Now you're making me want to hitch a ride in the truck with you guys and come on down.
Yeah, well, you won't have to hide in the truck, so that's good. But no, man, what a great group, what a great tournament. Good people. They have others that are very involved in this, that work really hard too, that weren't on camera. Like I said, weren't on camera tonight, but they work so hard at it and really try hard to put things on. And and it makes me proud from being up here in North Carolina, because we've got so many great events up here that the people work so hard to put on, and have trudged through some challenging times, years ago with King Mackerel Fishing. Where's it going? What's going to happen? And those kind of things. And to see, some things developing now, SKA making an early announcement on nationals, and, with all the events we have up here, from Cape Lookout Shootout, Morehead City Open, Swansboro 5-0, Brant McMullen's events at the Kingfish Cup, and it's so many tournaments, US Open, all the other events that go on as well up here. David Lucas works hard to put one on Sneed's Ferry. All of the folks that in North Carolina who have worked so hard to be part of this, all the tournament directors that give your time, all the sponsors that provide the support, and all the fishermen out there. That's the one thing we can't forget. We can't name everybody, obviously, but there's so many good teams out there that work hard at what they do and enjoy it. And, and it's made my last 22 years enjoyable. to be part of something that, you know, my family's been part of, my sons have grown up in, Colby, my grandson's the 4th generation actually fishing events. So from a personal
Sea bass slayer.
standpoint, he loves some sea bass fishing now. Ain't no doubt about that. Little rascal can catch them. Anyway, I'll get long-winded. Don't mean to do that. But whoever's watching this tonight or whoever watches it in perpetuity, we thank you for that. I'd love for you guys to go and join our YouTube channel, youtube.com/liquidfirefishing. If you can subscribe to the channel, we're going to put this on there so that way you can see it. It probably fall off Facebook in about 30 days, but and let us know if you'd like to see another one of these. We've got a lot of good people that we have on the list. We'd love to bring a lot of people in. So if you're out there possibly listening and you have an idea of who you'd like to see and talk strategy and fishing, we'll try to get, concise with it if we need to, or chat for an hour again, whatever it might be.
Sure.
So talk to me, John. Tell me what your thoughts are, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be great. I think a fantastic follow up to this would be let's, obviously we're going to, I'm sure, chat before you get down to Fort Pierce, but while you're down there, let's get you on and talk about the the pre-fishing, the bait fishing, and maybe get some other guys and gals that are down there and get an update before the event starts.
I'd like to do that.
Awesome.
And maybe in a couple of weeks, you and I'll chat up and see if and if this is the format folks like and it's effective, let us know. I mean, we're trying to feel our way through this thing too, but we do appreciate anybody spending, 52 minutes to sit on here and listen to me, fat old man, run his mouth all night long.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're fishermen. We're not computer geeks, so we're trying to fumble through this. So
yeah, for
guys,
sure.
We appreciate everybody joining in. We had a pretty good crowd. Some folks. Russell, saw your comment. We'll get you in touch with those folks. Bruce Woth mentioned we need some tournaments on the west coast of Florida. Bruce, buddy, I know it. It pains me to see what that's become, because that's where I grew up fishing and where I got a love for tournament fishing and fishing in general. So. We'll hopefully the Suncoast Kingfish Classic guys and girls can bring that back, and the SKA can get in there and you guys can get a good showing there. And I know James, the Wild West tournament, they're getting going again, and seem like they have a good amount of boats coming in, so that should be a good series this year.
Oh yeah, well they've always done a really good job. James and Jen, they just work really hard. They do they have the really cool format of the Fish What You Wish too. That's that's a pretty cool entry right there. Hey, you just make sure you're a member, and you're if you win, we won it year before last, won $10,000 for $85 membership per person. Wow. So so it's really cool. They've done some really cool stuff. And real quick shout out to my buddy Rob and Kelly Lapola for winning SKA Nationals back in I guess it was November down in Canaveral. So great people. Congratulations. Finish off with an SKA shout out as well.
Awesome. Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure. Look forward to doing this again, and I'm sure you and I will talk soon. Thanks everybody so much for joining. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you, everyone. Let us know how we did.